Adrien, last chance at $170 million. And Alex Rotter, you're definitely out as well. Here it is then, the gentleman's bid, ladies and gentlemen, at $170 million for the Warhol is selling here to you, sir, at $170 million.
Imagine, you just drop a hammer and pap, you spent 9 figures, just like that. That was the moment, pap, when art history was made. Right across the street, facing NBC Studios on 49th Street, is the Christie's Auction House. We're 30 Rock, they're 20 Rock. And when that hammer fell, Andy Warhol's iconic portrait of Marilyn Monroe, hello gorgeous, sold for just under $200 million. That is a record for an American piece of art at auction. But it's not the only piece of art selling for astronomical prices, even in this economy. Let's get some insight into the art world from Robin Pogrebin of the New York Times. She was at Christie's when the Warhol was sold. Welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about that moment. What was the energy like in the room? Were people expecting it to go for that much money? What are your top lines from the night of that auction?
It was an exciting night in part because it was good to be in person again after 2 years of kind of being remote, and exciting, I think, to be bidding art on the art live. And there was a lot of expectation around this piece. It is a very strong kind of iconic work of art, and I think there was no dispute about that. There was, however, real speculation that it could sort of fly to as much as 400 million. And the estimate, as you may know, was 200 million. So the fact that it sold slightly below, ultimately with fees, it was 195 million, was kind of counterintuitively a little bit of a letdown. I think there was some hope that there would be some great bidding war frenzy, but instead it was a little bit workmanlike and kind of eking out the bids and finally arriving, obviously, at a very strong price, but one that was not surprising or unexpected.
I'm sorry, did you say that was a bit of a letdown? I want to make sure I understand this, because I've never seen 9 figures. I haven't seen a 9-figure number on paper in my whole life. Was that a letdown? 190 million, really? What do you want?
There was a Da Vinci that went for 450 million, and so that is now kind of the high end of what's possible. And when you market something like this and you say this is the ultimate trophy, there's just no telling what the art market is going to go for. And that's what kind of makes our auctions exciting, is you just really don't know what's going to happen in the room. But yes, somebody went for it. We don't know who it is, but it is amazing that someone can afford to spend almost $200 million on a painting.
Yeah, and it's an amazing painting, right? Those Warhols that were made, I think, 2 years after Marilyn Monroe died in 1962, they're remarkable and they're valuable.
Yeah,
I just want to put a little context around that. The Walt Disney Company just reported quarterly earnings. The new movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness that came out just made $500 million in just the Chinese market in less than a week. So that's what 9-figure numbers mean, right? 500 million
Absolutely.
For China watching the new Doctor Strange movie versus almost 200 million for that painting. Why is there so much art right now? And it wasn't just the Warhol. There was a Basquiat, there was a Banksy, there was a Gerhard Richter that were sold at the Christie's auction. You see Abstraktes Bild by Gerhard Richter, portrait of the artist as a young derelict, Banksy's Diamond in the Rough. Why are there so many pieces going for so much money right now?
What's amazing is that art, it seems to be a kind of a Teflon sort of category where it's now established as an asset class. It's a good place to put your money as an investment. Clearly, it's bringing these numbers, so you can really make some money on selling art. But it also is remarkably immune to world events. We've got a war in Ukraine, as you know. We're coming out of a pandemic. Art endures, and when there are these blue chip, top-notch pieces, the rich people step up and they buy them. It is amazing. Even through 9/11, we saw it. Somehow, art, just continues to sell for these incredible prices.
We asked for some of your experiences buying art. Dee Green emailed us her pictures and experience of buying art from Rwanda. Dee Green writes, "We paid $200 for our first piece, then $1,100 for a fourth, and $200 for my husband's favorite because it has meaning of honor and strength of the bull." Thank you, Dee Green. Much appreciated. Robin, I wonder what your sense is of not only, why people buy this, but what people should think of before they buy a piece of expensive art or memorabilia at a Sotheby's or a Christie's. I mean, you can see the auction lots online. They put up YouTube videos, so there's no secret of what they're selling and when they're selling it. But for someone who's never done this, what should they keep in mind?
I think the most important thing is buy what you love and you want to live with. There is definitely an aspect to art collecting that can be as an investment, and you can clearly trade up and you can clearly sell these things for great numbers. But the art world really frowns on that. This is not supposed to be something that you flip for just to kind of make a buck. It's about a passion, and hopefully these works of art feed you in more of a kind of a spiritual and deep way, and you want to live around these pieces, and that's what's been exciting. Last night at Christie's there were a lot of artists of color and women artists who sold for great numbers, and it's exciting to see them commanding these prices, because this is a very broad field, and it should include more than the usual suspects. And as long as people value art, I mean, I think it is worth spending money if you have it.
Before I let you go, there was one non-fungible token, an NFT, that sold last night for more than $1 million. This is a piece of digital art. What's the read now on NFTs in the art world? I got to admit, I'm hyper skeptical of NFTs for the future, but what's the smart money on that?
I have to admit, I'm right there with you. I'm a little bit old fashioned. It's hard for me to get my head around. You hear a lot about NFTs. It's kind of all the rage in terms of talking about it. I'm just not sure how much people are going to feel that they can actually, this is a tangible piece of art that they can live with and enjoy. That really, I think the jury is out on that one. But there is clearly an excitement around it, a curiosity around it, and there are big prices. There are NFTs in art sale, in art fairs. I think we're going to have to keep our eye on it. But right now, I think for the diehard collector, you kind of want an actual painting you can have on your wall.
Yeah, when I walked out of work last night toward what is usually the skating rink, which is now a roller rink, there was a huge panel, looked like it was 15 feet high, over in front of 50 Rockefeller Plaza, and it was showing that image, that NFT.
Exactly.
And I looked, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now I know what it was. $1 million picture.
Right.
Learn something every day.
Exactly.
Robin Pogrebin of the New York Times, appreciate you explaining this to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.